That means that our hand is not moving around a lot. So we've got this, to this, to this. And again, if you put in the roots, you'll see the chords. D minor 9, G9 13, and then C major 7 with a 9 and a 13. Hey, welcome to Jazzmentl. My name is Tobey. Thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to do two things. We're going to take a look at our bebop scales because it's one of the most important things you need to learn about soloing in jazz. The bebop scale is infinitely useful, and we're going to introduce that in this video, in addition to left-hand chord voicings, what we call rootless voicings. So we're going to do 2-5-1 progressions using bebop scales. Absolutely important to do this. There is an exercise coming near the end to play with a backing track. It's going to help you immensely. I suggest you stick around for the entire video because if you miss some of this, you're going to be missing out on the fundamental aspects of being able to be a great jazz pianist. Okay, let's take a look first at the rootless voicings in the left hand. We're going to work in the key of C, and we're going to play a 2-5-1 progression, which means we're going to go from 2, which is D minor, to 5, which is G7, to 1, which is C major 7. Okay, 2 minor, 5-7, 1 major 7. Okay, now I've put some extensions in there, and that's okay because the extensions are going to be needed for our rootless voicing. So our first rootless voicing is going to be for D minor. And what we're going to do is play up in thirds like this. And we're going to take out the root, which means rootless, because the bass player is covering the root. So if we're playing 3, 5, 7, and 9, the bass player is going to cover 1. And that turns it into a D minor 9 chord. So great voicing to start with. It's a very simple voicing, a very basic voicing, but something that's absolutely necessary to start out with. So we're going to play F, A, C, and E, just like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to drop one note, which is this note, the C. We're going to drop it to B and put down the root, which is G. Look at that. It's a G9 13 chord. Very powerful chord. So all we did was change one note and we get this. So you can see it in chordy, but I'll write it out again here. Okay, so there's our voicing. And then what we're going to do is drop 2 notes, the outside notes, to become a C major 9 13 chord. All right, so let's just write that out as well. So we've got this note, this note, this note, and D. So there's our C major 7 with a 9 and a 13th. And of course, this one over here was G7 with 9 and 13. Okay. That means that our hand is not moving around a lot. So we've got this, to this, to this. And again, if you put in the roots, you'll see the chords. D minor 9, G9 13, and then C major 7 with a 9 and a 13. And just before we go any further, if you like videos like this, please give them a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you'd like to subscribe, hit the little bell when you do, and we'll notify you of all the upcoming videos that we're making. And here we have our bebop scale exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with a backing track in just a few minutes to play the scale and the rootless voicings, anticipating 1 and anticipating 3. So and 1 and 3. So you can see in this arrangement, and in the exercise, you've got this is and 1, and this is and 3. So an 8th note before 1 and an 8th note before 3. Why are we doing that? Because that's what is going to give it swing. So if the bass player was walking like this, okay, you're playing on the and before 1 like this. Get it? That's what's important about playing jazz. You need to get that swing feel into your head, and playing those 8th notes before 1 and before 3 is going to help with the swing. Now, let's talk about this bebop scale. So you'll notice that it is a D minor scale, but there's one note difference. So if D minor is in the key of C, this is the scale. no accidentals. If you put in an extra note, it evens out the bar, and the extra note is going to be F sharp. You can see it obviously right here and right here. Then when you get to the G7 scale, the bebop scale is going to include exactly the same note, which is F sharp. So it's the same scale, you're just moving up from G like this. So this was D minor bebop scale. This is G7 bebop scale. And of course, that extra note helps even it out. So when you're going to play the exercise, it's you hear it? So it's starting to swing and you've got an even number of notes. Instead of 7 notes in the scale, you've got 8 notes. So that's what's really cool about the bebop scale. It was developed by beboppers to be able to help you solo better on these tunes by giving you extra notes to play with. And then finally, we have our C major bebop scale, and the extra note is going to be G sharp. You can see it in the tune right here. It's actually written as A flat here, but it's also, of course, enharmonically, it is G sharp. So if we were going to play our scale exercise, it would be like this. Now you can play it up an octave because they tend to butt against each other. If you got this chord and you're playing a D, with the right hand, you can see that the hands are now intertwined. So play it up an octave. Now you can see that in the chart, I don't have a B natural for the C major chord on this chord here because it's voiced in fourths. We just took out this B natural. And again, if you throw down the root, you can see it's a C major 9-13 chord. We're just leaving out the 7. So you can voice it either with the B natural or without. Your call. In the exercise, it's done without. So you might be asking yourself, why is this bebop scale even useful? And I think it's because that extra note gives you the ability to do some cool things. For example, you can do some over and under things for chord tones. So if the chord tone on D minor is the 3rd, you can actually surround that with the passing notes. So listen to this. One more time. And of course, you can do this all day long. And of course, there's a lot of different bebop lines that you can use, but they all come from this bebop scale. So it's one of the most useful things. So the last thing I want to do is just play along with the backing track. I'm going to put a link up in the corner to the backing track and the sheet music in just a moment. It's absolutely free to grab it. So the backing track has a 2-bar intro, and then we're just going to launch into our exercise. Let me make this a little bit smaller so that we can see in the key of C. And then of course it just goes on to the key of B flat. I'll do it in B flat and C, and then it goes into different keys afterwards. So it's always good to play these 2-5-1 progressions in different keys. We're just going to do a couple of them just as an example. So let's play the backing track, 2-bar intro. Now we're going to change into the key of B flat. So there is 3 basic types of bebop scales. You've got your minor bebop scale, you got your dominant 7th bebop scale, and you've got your major bebop scale, each containing 8 notes. My suggestion is you go and download the sheet music and the backing track. I'm going to put that link up here in the corner. Just click that link and go and download it. And you can practice this all day long. And I suggest you practice it more than just one day because it really does help you solo and learn the beginning stages of soloing in jazz. If you have any questions about it, you can post it in the comments below. And I look forward to hearing from you on how this exercise worked for you. And if you're looking for other videos in this beginner jazz series, I suggest you check out this one.